Alright, we're going to work on IXL EE.1, simplifying radicals. Alright, so to simplify a radical, just a reminder that a square root is the opposite of an exponent of 2. Right? So because 2 squared is 4, the square root of 4 is 2. Because 3 squared is 9, the square root of 9 is 3. Right? So not all of them work out evenly like this. These are called perfect squares when they work out evenly. What we're going to do today is, what do you do when they're not going to work out evenly? Right? So what we do is we come here to figure out, we need to find things in the square root that were squared. So 2 squared is doing like 2 times 2. 3 squared is 3 times 3. So we're looking for things that are like 3 times 3 where it's the same number at the same time. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make a factor tree. So to do a factor tree, you look at your number and you think, all right, what's a pair of numbers that make 24? There's different options. We could do 2 and 12. We could do 4 and 6. You do 3 and 8. You just got to pick one and go with it. Right? So I'm going to do 6 times 4. Right? Then what you do is you look at each number separately. So 6, something that multiplies to 6 is 2 times 3. And something that multiplies to 4 is 2 times 2. So if we look at this next row, 2 doesn't break down any farther. 3 also does not break down any farther. So these are the end of the tree branches. So these are kind of like the leaves of the branches here. Once you've got all the way down and nothing will go any further, we're going to go back here. We're going to make a list. So right here I see 1, 2, 3 2s. So I'm going to put those in my list. And then that 3 there. All right? So you make your list. Once you have your list, you're going to look in your list for pairs. So right here I see I have a pair of 2s there. And then those are all by themselves, so they don't have a pair. So now we're going to our square root. So we're going to have something on the outside and something on the inside. The outside is where your pairs go. For the pairs, if I have one pair of 2s, that means I'm going to have 1 2 on the outside. Right? That's saying there's a pair of 2s on the inside. And then whatever is not paired up, we call leftovers. Leftovers go inside the square root. Alright? So if it's a pair, it goes on the outside. If it's leftover, it goes on the inside. Then you just simplify anything that's left. So right here I need to do 2 times 3, which is 6. So my answer would be 2 square root of 6. And that's how you do that problem. For our next one, I've got 8 square root of 12. So this one already has something on the outside. So we're still going to do the inside like we did. So we're going to look at 12 and think, all right, what makes 12? And 2 times 6 is 12. 2, that one's done. 6 needs to become 2 times 3. So when I make my list, I bring that 8 down. Go my square root, I've got 2, 2, and 3 on the inside. So we're going to look for pairs. I got a pair of 2s. And then that lonely 3 by itself. So our final answer, for our answer, this 8 needs to come down. This guy's going to go to the outside. This guy is going to stay on the inside. 2 times 8 is 16. So my final answer would be 16 square root of 3. There you go. Alright, our next one's 175. Now, once the numbers get bigger, it's going to be harder to find your first pair of numbers, like 12 and 24. Those are pretty simple numbers that we use a lot. 175 is not so much. So I'm going to show you a way to do it if you're not sure what makes a pair. So one thing you can do, you got a couple hints. This has a 5 on the end. So I know something times 5 has to make this, right? Anytime there's a 5 or a 0 on the end, you know you can use a 5 at some point, right? If it's an even number like 12 and 24, you know there's got to be a 2 in there somewhere, right? Even numbers have to have at least 1 2 in them. So those are clues for you. So what you can do, look at your clues, get your calculator, and we're going to use some division. So it's 175 is the number we're looking at. I know there has to be a 5 in there somewhere, so I'm going to divide it by 5. And I got 35. That means 5 times 35 equals 175. So on my list here, I'm going to break this into 5 times 35. Then we keep going. 5 doesn't break down. 35 is 5 times 7. 5, again, that doesn't break down. 7 also does not break down. So that's the end of all of those. So we've got 5 times 5 times 7. Got one pair of 5s here. So 5 square root of 7 is the answer. There you go. Alright, so that is how you simplify square root.